Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Beautiful, and today we're going to be talking about the top 10 2022 games that I have played this year. I have never really done a lot of these like top 10 lists, so this will kind of be my first actually. And we're going to be talking about a bunch of different games that I played this year. Ones that came out earlier in the beginning of the year, ones that came out very recently. There will even be some games in here that I haven't even beaten yet, but I think they warrant a spot on the top 10 list because I'm still currently playing them and I enjoy them, and yeah, I really don't have too much bad things to say about these games. So let's get this list started. So in no particular order, we're gonna start with number 10. My number 10 game actually would be King of Fighters 15. King of Fighters 15, this game brought me back kind of in the fighting games. SNK has had a reputation of their games don't always hit the market. They're not really that popular over in the US, so it's really cool to see games like King of Fighters or Metal Slug or any of these Last Blade, all these other big SNK titles make it over to the US and even get any kind of recognition. And King of Fighters is definitely one, aside from Samurai Showdown, that got like real recognition over here. And if anybody has been a part of the FGC for any amount of time, this is probably the biggest SNK has been in years in terms of like popularity on a competitive scene. The characters are fun, the combos are fun to do. It's definitely got an easy to pick up but hard to master kind of gameplay. It is a bit harder than some of the other fighting games that did come out this year, like Guilty Gear Strive and all those other stuff, or those came out a little bit earlier. But yeah, King of Fighters 15 is a wonderful experience. Rollback netcode is great. What more can you want, man? You got Terry Bogard, you got Kiori. You got Iori and Kyo. Those are two completely different characters. We're gonna keep that in. And man, it's a phenomenal experience. So I definitely recommend it. So the second game I want to talk about on this list actually came out on the Nintendo Switch this year. It's a phenomenal game. I haven't beaten it. Disclaimer: I haven't beaten it yet, but I have a lot of hours into it so far. I'm actually drawing near the end. I'm on like the last couple chapters, and it is great. The music is great. The characters are great. This game is Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It was nominated this year at the Game Awards for, I think it had like Best Soundtrack. It didn't actually get it, unfortunately, but it had an incredible soundtrack. I absolutely adored this game. The characters are very likable. A lot of these JRPGs that I've played, I tend to I'll enjoy the game, I'll enjoy the gameplay, story, whatever, but the characters will usually be annoying. They'll drag on. They have awful voice acting. There's just so many things that can go wrong in like a JRPG that gets like translated over into English. But no, they sound phenomenal, these voice actors. The gameplay itself is fun. It's that convoluted Xenoblade Chronicles battle system, but for me this is something I personally like. This is just something I thought was really cool about the game. The exploration is good. Yes, the game does suffer from some frame issues at times. There's a little bit of pop-ins here and there. The resolution isn't always the clearest when you're playing the game, but overall it was nothing that ever drew me away from enjoying the game. It didn't take away from my experience, so I definitely got to put Xenoblade Chronicles 3 up there. Okay, next game I want to talk about actually on this list is going to be an obvious one too. If you've seen anything about my channel, if you've even clicked and watched any of my streams, you'll know that I'm going to put this on the list, and that is Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. What do you want me to say? I mean, it's for a game like this, it's like I almost can't praise it that much because there's nothing really special about this game. It's Monster Hunter. You get your character, you already played them in Sunbreak, they're now in Rise, you're fighting all these new monsters, there's a lot of great music, there's a couple new mechanics that they added into the Silkbind moves and everything. There's different combos, you can kind of use all your abilities all in one quest. It's not like it's bad. This game isn't bad in the slightest, that's why it's on this list. But it's nothing special. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just Monster Hunter. And if you are a Monster Hunter fan, you're gonna definitely put this on your list because this is just a game you're gonna sink another 200, 300, 400, 500, whatever hours into the game. It's so good though. the game is just fun. It released on PC, which is really nice. So people on PC get to enjoy the game, 60 frames a second. I personally have played the game only on the Switch, really. I know they're releasing like the game on PS4 and Xbox as well, so maybe we'll check those out, or maybe I'll just even pick up the PC port. I don't know, maybe one day. Story mode the multiplayer is the multiplayer. I can't really like brag too much about this game, only because it's Monster Hunter at the end of the day, and if you're a Monster Hunter fan, you're going to enjoy it. If you're not a Monster Hunter fan, I would say don't even pay attention to Sunbreak. Go buy Monster Hunter Rise, put some hours into that game, and you'll be very comfortable to jump right into Sunbreak. I know a lot of people from my streams and my chat and everything that have done the same thing, and they are big Monster Hunter fans now. So Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, I don't mean for it to sound negative at all, but it's Monster Hunter. If you enjoy it, you're gonna love it. Okay, so I got another game on the Nintendo Switch. Dude, Nintendo Switch actually had some games this year. When I think about it, the Nintendo Switch had some pretty good RPGs. And speaking of RPGs, the next game on this list would happen to be a tactical RPG by the name of Triangle Strategy. Yes, Triangle Strategy. This game is pretty awesome. If you like Final Fantasy Tactics, if you like the 2D HD pixel art style, you're gonna love the artwork in this game, or the art style I should say. The music is great. It's Square Enix, they're not really gonna miss with the music. It's gonna be good. And I gotta tell you guys, the voice acting is pretty good. There's some characters that are hit or miss, but overall, Triangle Strategy is, if you're a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics or any of those tactic kind of games, yeah, you'll definitely enjoy this game. You'll definitely enjoy it. It's super cool. It's got a lot of good quality of life things that weren't in Final Fantasy Tactics that are in this game that make it a little bit, I don't want to use the word easier, but it definitely makes the experience a lot more enjoyable. There's multiple endings, multiple different playthroughs. I'm actually on my second playthrough right now on the game. It's a phenomenal game. I loved it. It definitely deserves a spot on my list. Triangle Strategy. Okay, next game on the list. I know you guys are probably thinking like, there's some obvious ones that need to get added on this list, and we're just waiting for them to talk about it. Don't worry, I promise you. Next one on this list. My next one on this list is pretty good. It's not a RPG. It's not a tactical RPG or anything like that. It's nothing Souls-like. Don't worry, we're getting there. This game really blew my mind in a lot of ways. The combat is so engaging. I've beaten it about 3 times now. On stream, off stream, I've gotten every ending. I 100%ed everything you could possibly do in this game. And that game happens to be Sifu, or Shifu, I guess you could also say. I think that's the proper pronunciation. Man, Sifu is so amazing. The combat, if you even remotely like the Batman Arkham series, it's got a little bit of that like free flow combat, rocksteady style of combat. There's a lot of like parrying. It's got a Souls aspect to it, so it's kind of like a roguelike. If you die, one of the cool mechanics of the game is that when you die, you age, and every time you get a little bit older, you get to learn more martial arts. Like you're becoming more wise. Like you're losing HP, but you're gaining strength, and it's pretty wild, man. The storyline is pretty cool. It's got an interesting meaning about like revenge and it's good. It's good. Go play Sifu if you haven't played Sifu yet, man. It's a cheap game. I think the game is only like $20, $30. You can probably find it on sale with all the winter stuff going on. This is definitely a game you need to definitely check out. All right, next game on the list is an RPG. Yeah, it's an RPG. I know. We played a lot of RPGs this year. This year, even on my own time, I played a ton of RPGs, including like ones that didn't come out this year, like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I didn't get around to playing it until now. All I did this year was play RPGs, mainly because I did a lot of like self gaming. You know what I mean? I didn't game like on a stream or make videos or anything. I mainly did a lot of like just playing games on my own time, which is fine. But this game, I ranted and raved about it to friends. I actually had the one of the lead producers of the game retweet my little rant about the game. It wasn't a bad rant. It was a rant basically talking about how much I enjoyed and loved this game and how it really impacted me this year. It's an old game and it got a remake this year. Completely HD remake, voice acting, and that game would happen to be Live Alive Remake. Wow. Live Alive Remake, man. This game, and listen, I'm a baby when it comes to playing video games. Like, I get emotional very quickly when I play video games. I guess I'm just an emotional person. This game is just, man, it's so heartwarming. It's got so much inspiration. There's some chapters in the game that are hit or miss, but most of the chapters of different characters you're playing as. There's such a variety in gameplay. You're not just grinding this character and then you meet a new character and you grind that up and then you have 4 characters and you go take on a boss. Like, no, the game it's so different. There's so many guest characters. There's characters that die. There's characters that live. There's a unique storyline to every character that you play as. The caveman guy is like more of like a humorous, like it's kind of a comical gameplay with him, and when you're playing as like the old Chinese master, you're like creating a school of martial arts students. You're trying to gather martial arts students so you can pass on your technique to them. And then there's like a mission about like controlling a giant robot, and it becomes like one of those Henshin TV shows. Like you see right here, shout out to Power Rangers. You get like a Megazord and everything, and it's crazy. It's the music. It's with the impactful moments, plus how the game ends. I found myself tearing up several times playing this game. Not only because I got attached to the characters, but just like, it's so well orchestrated. Everything comes together when you get all your characters in. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to talk about this game too much. But Live Alive Remake, please, if you're a fan of Super Nintendo style JRPGs, like old school RPGs, please don't let this one be one that fell under your radar. I didn't get to play the remake years ago, or the original years ago, so check it out, Live Alive Remake. Okay, so this next game is a beat 'em up that came out on all consoles. I actually played it earlier this year with my sister and brother-in-law, and we played couch co-op. And this game, the thing about couch co-op that's so incredible playing couch co-op now in 2022 is that just not enough games deliver it because, you know, the pandemic and having to make every game online now. Like, it's understandable why games are like this now. But man, this game, playing it couch co-op with friends just felt so different. It felt like the old days of gaming again, and that would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It's online co-op, it's local co-op. The online runs very well. The characters, there's so many different characters. It's not just the Ninja Turtles like Leo, Michelangelo, and everyone. And there's like Casey Jones, and we got like April O'Neil and Splinter, Master Splinter. It's so nostalgic if you're fans of the Turtles. The game is a lot of fun. The different combat, the different combos and stuff you can do. It's a lot of fun. Very colorful game, very pretty. It's got that cool like map system, kind of like similar like the old Super Mario World. You get a big overview map and you select the levels and you have like different bonus objectives. I think this is just a solid game overall. This is one of the better indie games I played this year. Definitely Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Check it out. Okay, so these last 3 games I chose. I know I said I didn't want to do any of these games in particular order, but these last 3, I will say, are the ones that are the big games for me this year. These are my top 3 games that really stuck with me. I just have nothing but good things to say about it. So the first game I want to talk about, obviously, and it won Game of the Year. Yeah, we're talking about it. Elden Ring. What the hell, dude? Like, this game brought out more emotions in me than that RPG I told you about that I cried about. Like, Elden Ring, it really does what a lot of games could be doing, but simply don't. And that's like a very duh thing, but Elden Ring really likes to take it takes the idea of what open world could really feel like and what it should feel like. What gamers complain about for years is like in this, like those complaints are like solved in this game. And hear me out when I say this. A lot of people say that, like, you know, when they're playing open world games, it just feels like an empty map. There's areas you can go to. You go all the way over here. There's nothing there but like, I don't know, like some water and like a beach or something. There's nothing there. There's no significance. Elden Ring takes every single corner of the map and adds purpose, value, and there's just a love and dedication put into every single part. It feels like every section of the map had a separate developer working 100% of their time into this area, and there was just concept writers and artists just working on every individual part for years, and it feels like every area is almost a new game. It's from being in Caelid to Raya Lucaria, or I think that's what it's called, like the magician place, and then like like Caelid and then like the different towers. You go into that big tornado place with the secret bosses, and it's just, there's so much to this game, and I didn't even get to like character customization. Like, there's so much to do with your characters, the different weapons, the amount of spells. Playing the game as a mage versus playing the game as a warrior or two-handed barbaric, knight or something. It's so many customization options. And the fact that all of this ties together with FromSoft's famous level design. FromSoft is known to just have some of the best level design in the game. This game has so much going for it in terms of level design. It's a phenomenal experience. The bosses, of course, are extremely challenging, but they're very fun and satisfying when you do beat them. Melania, I'm looking at you. I won't forget about you. Yeah, if anybody saw my Melania stream when I played Elden Ring, boy, was that was an experience. It took me hours to beat her, but Elden Ring, it's obviously a phenomenal game. Okay, next game on the list. I know we're gonna be wrapping up. We got two more. This next game I did not beat yet because I'm still currently playing it. It's on. I'm actually streaming it. You guys can actually catch out my streams. When I'm not making videos and stuff. Yeah, I definitely stream this game. I've been streaming like every week, and I love it. This is God of War Ragnarok. I feel like this is an obvious one, right? Who the hell isn't gonna put God of War Ragnarok on their top 10 list this year? Unless you just straight up have zero interest in like AAA titles or PlayStation in general. It's really the only reason you haven't played it or haven't thought about it or even found any type of interest in it. This is a game that it really feels like a next generation game. There are times, yes, I made fun of it on the stream where there was like a little rock and there's like two characters that lift up the rock and the rock looks like it kind of clips through the other rocks, and I was like, okay, that's not that next gen, but but overall, God of War Ragnarok has some of the best looking set pieces. It's just gorgeous game. The combat makes you actually feel like a god. Like, you feel like a god. They make it where Kratos is so strong. Like, one of the big complaints I had in God of War 2018 versus God of War Ragnarok was that the game starts out incredibly difficult. No matter what difficulty you put it on, the game is like hard in the beginning, and the game becomes easier over time. I'm personally not a huge fan of that because it makes the last bit of the game not feel like it's much of a challenge, and everything kind of feels a little bit more trivial. I'd rather the game start out very chilled and relaxed, and the combat progressively get hard to the point where once we're at the end of the game, we are at peak difficulty, and the game wants you to push yourself until the game is finished. And I feel like that's something to kind of talk a little bit more about, like Elden Ring, like FromSoft does very well. They don't throw you into the wolves. I mean, they kind of do, but like, it's not in comparison to some of these later bosses that you fight. With this game, God of War Ragnarok, it starts out not easy. It's not easy, but I'm playing on Give Me No Mercy. The game is challenging, but I have so many of my abilities. Kratos in 2018 God of War, he has like no abilities to start with. You have a couple combo hits with your axe, blah blah blah. You got the axe throw. You got the melee combat. And you got like a heavy launcher attack, and like that's about it. You have like maybe Atreus shooting a couple arrows, but the combat is so limited. This game, you're starting out with the Blades of Chaos. You have your axe. You have all these abilities. There's a lot more that goes into this game's beginning where you feel like you've already made some progression. It really feels like a continuation from one, while one does feel like a big reset of the series, you know what I mean? So, God of War Ragnarok, voice acting is phenomenal. Kratos is great. I feel like I could talk about this game all day. I'm not going to talk too much more about it because I haven't beaten it, but the bits I have played, I would say maybe I'm like a fourth into the game. It's definitely going to be at least a 9 out of 10. So, God of War Ragnarok, obviously it's a pick. So the last game I want to talk about on the list, this might actually be my game of the year this year. This is going to be a crazy one. It's a surprise maybe to some people because I guess I haven't really been talking about it, but Marvel's Midnight Suns. This game really surprised me. I popped it in the day I got it. Was addicted ever since. I've been playing it every single day. I tried it at least, even on days that I'm like super busy and I can't even get around to playing video games. I'll at least try to sneak in an hour. I'll always try to sneak in some time to play this game. The combat is a 10 out of 10. It's so fun. It's so creative. If you're not really into like card games, I would say don't even worry about that. The game has a card mechanic, but it's very light. It's not very hard or convoluted to understand. If you're mainly into tactical RPGs, you'll definitely find a place here. It's turn-based tactical RPG. The costumes are really fun. I have a little bit of a complaint about like some of the microtransactions of like getting new aesthetics and costumes like that. I think all that stuff should be unlockable in the game, but that's a conversation for another day. But when it comes to actual game, the pure gameplay itself, it's a 10 out of 10, man. It's so good. The character interactions are so natural. It feels so fun to see characters from different comic series that like just coming together. Characters I've heard of, characters I've never heard of. Seeing Blade in a swimming pool, you know, with his shorts on, talking to your character about the Blade movie. That's a real conversation that happens in the game, and it's fucking phenomenal. It's an amazing game. Seeing, you know, your different characters kind of bickering and arguing. It's like the Avengers and the Midnight Suns trying to come together and make this new team and everything, and they're just not getting along. And you, being your own character, you get to make your own character. You're trying to, of course, you know, bring all these heroes together to take on a much greater evil. And wow, man, if you like Fire Emblem Three Houses, I would say this game feels more like that than anything. Like a mix of like Fire Emblem Three Houses and like XCOM, because it's the same developers who made XCOM. So this game is phenomenal. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say the heroes that you get are so fun. They're really likable. There's probably only one character in the whole game that I don't like. Some friends of mine know who that is, but the graphics themselves look pretty good. It's not the most visually intensive game, but it's good enough where it shouldn't bother you if you're not that big of a graphics person. I don't need my games to look ridiculously realistic, but it's got a nice art style. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's an addictive game. The grind can definitely get to you in a good way, meaning that like you'll lose yourself to just grinding and spending time on that. So I think that's a really incredible thing. So I definitely would check it out, guys. Marvel's Midnight Suns. This game is like easily like a 9 out of 10 for me. It's got everything that I personally want in a Marvel game that I didn't know that I wanted in a Marvel game. Does that make any sense? So that's pretty much it. That's my top 10 list of games that I played in 2022. Now these were games that came out in 2022. These weren't just, I played a lot more other games this year that I would love to talk about. But you know, I want to kind of see how the video does and everything. See how you guys like watching me talk about video games and different stuff like that. I do all the time on my stream, but you know, it wouldn't be bad to do a video format of this sometimes. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure you red hot kick the like button on my stream, on my video if you haven't already. Man, see, you can see that's how I'm so used to doing streams. I don't do videos, but we're gonna keep that in, right? As always, stay beautiful, ladies and gentlemen.